Hello friends, welcome to a new topic today. In this chapter, let us now learn about the next group of drugs which are opioid analgesics. So in the opioid analgesics, we have this opioid analgesics are derived from Papaver somniferum. So first we will see the receptors, opioid receptors. Okay, so these opioid receptors are mainly of three types. One, mu receptors, second, kappa receptors, third, delta receptors. See, mu receptors are also called as euphoria. Kappa receptors are also called as dysphoric receptors, whereas delta receptors are those which are analgenic receptors. Okay, so these actions are very important. These mu receptors are again divided into two types. We have mu1 receptors or supraspinal receptors, and we have mu2 receptors or spinal receptors. Okay, so mu receptors are again divided into mu1 and mu2. Mu1 is supraspinal receptors and mu2 is spinal receptors. So if you see, these mu1 receptors have the following effects. One, they cause physical dependence, PEAS, you can remember like this. They cause physical dependence, they cause euphoria, that is the reason why we call it as euphoric receptors. They cause mild analgesia also and sedation. So mu1 is they cause physical dependence, euphoria, analgesia and sedation. Then mu2 or spinal receptors, so they are remembered as CAR. CAR is C for constipation, A for analgesia, R for respiratory depression. So mu2 or spinal receptors causes constipation, analgesia, respiratory depression. Okay, then the next receptor is kappa. This kappa causes analgesia, constipation, dysphoria. Because it causes dysphoria, that is the reason why we call it as dysphoric receptor. It causes sedation and depression and also hallucinogenic action. Then this delta receptor causes analgesic, so it is analgesic receptor. It causes antidepressant, anticonvulsant activity, and it also modulates hormones for neurotransmitter release. This delta receptor is analgesic receptor and it has actions like antidepressants, anticonvulsants and modulate hormone for neurotransmitter release. See, among all these three, if you were asked which one has all the three receptors, see, all the three receptors have analgesic action. See, analgesic action is present in all the three receptors. You can remember, number one, analgesic action is present in all the three receptors. Second, in mu2 and in kappa receptor you have constipation. And okay, you have constipation in mu2 and kappa receptor. Then in mu2 and kappa receptor you have constipation and you have sedation. Okay, you have sedation in kappa and mu1. In kappa and mu1 you have sedation. So what are the common effects? Common are in mu2 and kappa you have constipation, mu1 and kappa you have sedation, and in all the others you have analgesic action. Okay, now the specific symptoms are the rest of the others. So what are the specific symptoms? You have mu receptor has physical dependence and euphoria has specific symptom. Mu2 has respiratory depression has specific symptom. Kappa has dysphoria, hallucinogenic effect and depression has specific actions, and delta has antidepressants, anticonvulsants has specific action. Right, now let us learn about the mechanism of action of these receptors. So if you see the mechanism of action, so normally calcium from the synapse, it enters the neuron terminal, and this calcium will activate the release of these nociceptors, and these nociceptors are released into the synapse and they activate on N receptors and cause and decrease the pain, right? So this and they cause pain. Now these opioid agents, they will inhibit the calcium channel. They are calcium blockers. Once they inhibit this calcium channel, there is no release of nociceptor, there is no activation of nociceptors neurotransmitters, and thus there is no release of nociceptor neurotransmitters into the synapse, and thus there is no pain. Postsynaptically, these will also activate potassium channels. So once they activate potassium channels, these potassium channels are opened, and as a result you see efflux of potassium occurring. Whenever there is efflux of potassium, there is hyperpolarization. This also is responsible for the actions of opioid receptor. Okay, then when you have learnt about this, now what are the endogenous opioids? The endogenous opioids which you see here include, we have endorphins which have major action on mu receptors, and we have enkephalin whose major action is on delta receptors. We have dysmorphine whose maximum action is on kappa receptor. We have nororphin whose maximum action is on N or OF receptors. Okay, so this is about the endogenous opioids. Now if you see actions, the actions of opioids are very important. They have CNS action. In the CNS they are used as analgesic, right? So because of this analgesic action, so they first relieve the peripheral pain followed by neuritic pain. First and foremost, they relieve the peripheral pain followed by neuritic pain. These will also act on substantia gelatinosa. These will also act on substantia gelatinosa of dorsal horn cells, and they will inhibit the neurotransmitter release and thus decrease the pain. They also have effect of sedation and euphoria, as we have already seen. These will activate the cortical cortex and hippocampus, and they will lower the seizure threshold and thus result in convulsions as side effect. Okay, then if you see in the lungs they cause respiratory tract depression, which is also a side effect, and thus they cause decrease in rate of respiration, and they also cause decrease in tidal volume. Then it also activates the central sympathetic activity, and thus it causes hyperglycemia, has a side effect. Slight hyperglycemia has side effect. It has action on temperature center. Once it decreases temperature center, and thus it leads to hypothermia. It also has action on cuff center. It inhibits the cuff center. Okay, then it inhibits cuff center. This morphine also inhibits CTZ. Also activates CTZ. When it activates CTZ, it has actions like nausea and vomiting. These will inhibit the GABAergic interneurons and thus activate Edinger-Westphal nucleus, leading to meiosis action. Then these in the presence of CVS, it causes vagal center activation, and thus these leads to bradycardia. These will decrease the peripheral resistance and thus decrease the cardiac work. So these will also release histamine, thus causing vasodilatation and hypotension. These will release histamine, causing vasodilatation and hypotension, right? These will also causes spasm of sphincter of Oddi, and because they cause spasm of sphincter of Oddi, they will increase intrabiliary pressure, causing biliary colic. So on the sphincter of Oddi, they cause intractable biliary pressure, leading to biliary colic. They will also release the histamine, and because of this release of histamine, they will cause hypotension, has side effect. Okay, then because of this release of histamine, they also cause bronchoconstriction. They also increase the on genitourinary system. Okay, they increase the detrusor muscle and sphincter muscle tone, and thus it increases the urinary urgency. If you see on endocrine, it increases the growth hormone prolactin. These are very important. It increases the growth hormone And prolactin, it decreases the FSH, LH and ACTH, and because it decreases FSH and LH and ACTH, which are sex hormones, it results in libido, impotence and menstrual abnormalities has side effects. Okay, so these are the main actions which you see. And if you see on GIT, it increases the tone of the intestine, thus causing spasm of pyloric, ileocecal and anal sphincter, thus decreasing gastric motility and result in constipation. It also decreases the GI secretions. Now next, what are the contraindications of morphine or opioid? So these morphines and opioids are contraindicated in colicky type of pain, like they are contraindicated in biliary colic, renal colic, pancreatitis. They are contraindicated in biliary colic, renal colic. Why pancreatitis? Because they cause backflow to pancreatic juice outlet obstruction. They are contraindicated in bradycardia, hypotension, benign prostatic hyperplasia, head injury where there is increased intracranial pressure. They are contraindicated in bronchial asthma and COPD because of respiratory depression, and they are even contraindicated in babies. So these are the main contraindications of morphine. Then now let us learn about the drugs of morphine. First we will see about the classification of morphine. Classification of opioid drugs. First we will see the classification of opioid drugs. In that first group is opioid agonists. These opioid agonists can be divided into natural opioid agonists, semi-synthetic opioid agonists or synthetic opioid agonists. Natural opioid agonists include morphine, codeine, thebaine, papaverine and noscapine. Whereas semi-synthetic opioid agonists include heroin, oxymorphine and folcodeine. Whereas synthetic opioid agonists include pethidine, methadone, tramadol, dextropropoxyphene, loperamide, difenoxylate, fentanyl, alfentanil, sufentanil and ramifentanil. So these are synthetic opioid agonists. So we have natural opioid agonists which include morphine, codeine, thebaine, papaverine and noscapine. We have semi-synthetic opioid agonists which include heroin, oxymorphine and folcodeine. Whereas we have synthetic opioid agonists which include pethidine, methadone, tramadol, dextropropoxyphene, loperamide, trifenoxylate, fentanyl, alfentanil, sufentanil and ramifentanil. So first drug which I would like to discuss here is about methadone. So if you see methadone, it is the long acting drug, very long acting drug. Here action comes late. There is lesser risk of withdrawal symptoms. It is used in opioid de-addiction as methadone substitution therapy. Okay. Then the next drug is pethidine. This pethidine has both anticholinergic activity also. So because of this anticholinergic activity, it causes side effect, that is tachycardia, and because of this tachycardia it is contraindicated in MI. Okay, it is also contraindicated with monoamine oxidase inhibitors, and it is also contraindicated with epilepsy. Why is it contraindicated with monoamine oxidase inhibitors? Because pethidine along with monoamine oxidase inhibitors, it can cause serotonin syndrome. It is safer in biliary colic. So this is very important because it is safer in biliary colic. Okay, so this is about pethidine. Then pethidine undergoes hydrolysis and it forms meperdenic acid, which is the main metabolite, and this undergoes demethylation and it forms norpethidine. If you see, this norpethidine is a seizure inducing property. It has seizure inducing property and it is long acting drug. This pethidine also has gluconic acid conjugation. Okay, then after pethidine, the next drug is, which we will learn here, is loperamide and difenoxylate. This loperamide and difenoxylate, they will decrease the intestinal motility, so they are used in non-infective diarrhea. So you can even add atropine to them to decrease the abuse potential and decrease secretions. This diphenoxylate is inhibited in infective diarrhea. Then the other drugs are codeine, folcodeine, dextromethorphan, noscapine and benzonate. So if you see, these are respiratory system, these act on respiratory system. See, this loperamide and phenoxylate acts on intestinal system and decrease intestinal motility, whereas this codeine, folcodeine, dextromethorphan, noscapine and benzoxide, these will act on respiratory system and inhibit the medullary cuff center. So it is used in dry cough. There is no analgesic action and no abuse potential. Then the next group of drugs are alfentanil, fentanyl, sufentanil, ramifentanil. If you see, alfentanil is 10 times more potent than morphine. Sufentanil is 100 times more potent than fentanyl is 100 times more potent than morphine. Sufentanil is 1000 times more potent than morphine. So this is most potent is this sufentanil. Ramifentanil is shortest acting opioid is ramifentanil. Okay, and this ramifentanil can be used as neuroleptic analgesia. Then what are the side effects of this ramifentanil? It can cause chest tightness leading to wooden chest. Then what are the other drugs? Other drugs are mu receptor. We have something called as mu receptor agonists and additional action. So these can be divided into two types. One which include mu receptor agonist and selective noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor. Second, mu receptor agonist plus noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor. So this mu receptor agonist plus selective noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor includes tramadol, which is used in neuropathic pain and labor pain, whereas mu receptor agonist plus noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor includes tapentadol, which is used in moderate to severe pain. These you should remember for sure. Tramadol is used in our emergency very well, right? So we should remember. Then we have the next group, which is partial and agonists. So these partial agonists are present on mu receptors and they are strong agonists on kappa receptor. So this drug includes butorphanol. This butorphanol has low oral bioavailability and it is preferred in parenteral route. Okay, so this butorphanol is used in post-operative pain and short-lasting pain, and it has parenteral route. It is used as IV or IM. Then we have, that is butorphanol. Then the next group of drugs are opioid agonist and antagonistic action. These have both opioid agonist and antagonistic action. In this we have kappa agonist and mu antagonistic action. We have kappa agonist and mu antagonistic action. Here we have three drugs which are buprenorphine, nalbuphine and pentazocine. Buprenorphine, nalbuphine and pentazocine. See, buprenorphine, if you see, it can cause respiratory depression and thus it is contraindicated in obstetric analgesia. Buprenorphine is contraindicated in obstetric analgesia, whereas nalbuphine, if you see, it is more potent than pentazocine and it is used in obstetric analgesia. Then if you see this pentazocine, it is contraindicated in colicky pain, MI and epilepsy, and it is used only in post-burn pain or post-operative pain. The last topic of today is opioid antagonists. The opioid antagonists include, there are all the three receptor blockers. These are mu blocker, kappa blocker and delta blocker. There is no tolerance, no withdrawal symptoms associated with it and no dependence associated with it. These include naloxone, naltrexone. So first naloxone. Naloxone, it is short acting. Because it is short acting, it is given IV route in the dosage of 0.4 to 0.8 milligrams. And it is used as a drug of choice for acute opioid poisoning. It is used as a drug of choice for acute opioid poisoning. So to diagnose opioid addiction, you should give injection naloxone. Once you give naloxone, you will see precipitation of withdrawal symptoms. So it is used to diagnose opioid addiction and used in the treatment of acute opioid poisoning. Next group we have naltrexone. This naltrexone, if you see, this is 3 to 4 times more potent than naloxone, and it is long acting. Because of its long acting and oral route, it is used as maintenance therapy for opioid de-addiction program, so that it will prevent the relapse. At least 10-day opioid free period is required. Okay. Other uses are, along with buprenorphine, it is more potent than naltrexone. It is more potent than naloxone. It is longer acting and it can be given as oral route. It is used in maintenance therapy for opioid de-addiction to prevent relapse. At least 10-day opioid free period is required. The other uses are, this buprenorphine can, along with buprenorphine, this can be used in the treatment of obesity and to decrease alcohol craving. Then we have nalmefene. This nalmefene, if you see, it is can be given as IV route and oral route. The uses is similar to naloxone, but it has faster onset of action, that is less than 2 minutes. Okay, so these are the 3 antagonists, which are naloxone, naltrexone and nalmefene. Naloxone is short acting, naltrexone is long acting. Okay, naloxone is used in opioid poisoning as IV, whereas naltrexone is used as maintenance therapy for opioid de-addiction in oral route. Okay, the last group of drugs here is peripherally acting mu opioid receptor antagonists. These are peripherally acting mu opioid receptor antagonists. So they have no mu blocker in CNS. They are not mu blocker in CNS. They have only action in the peripheral nervous they do not cross the blood-brain barrier. So the drugs include methyl naltrexone, alvimorphen, naldimedine. Methyl naltrexone, alvimorphen and naldimedine. So what is the uses of this? This is used in the treatment of constipation in chronic opioid addicts. In chronic opioid addicts, it is used for treatment of constipation and pain management. It is also used in post-operative paralytic ileus. What are the drugs? Peripherally acting mu opioid receptor antagonists, which include methyl naltrexone, alvimorphen and naldimedine. Alvimorphen and naldimedine. Then we have something called as designer drugs. So what do you see in designer drugs? These are the substances which have absolute abuse potentials. So these includes MDMA and ecstasy, which is an amphetamine analog. We have China White. China White is an analog of fentanyl, whereas MDMA and ecstasy is an amphetamine analog. So this is about opioid drugs. So I went a little faster, I know. So thank you guys for watching my lecture. In the next class, we will learn about benzodiazepines and barbiturates. Thank you for watching my lecture. Thank you.